Dennis.
All right. Let me start my presentation with a question. Imagine you're organizing a meeting for 300 people coming from 35 different origins from all over the world, just like you can see here on the map. The very basic question is, what is the best destination for them to come together? Where should they meet? What sounds actually like a very easy question is very difficult to answer. There are hundreds of factors influencing the decision of where people have a meeting. And it's so complicated that people actually are basing their decision on where to have a meeting purely on personal opinions. So we thought we can do that better. We can help them. We've built a big data analytics company platform which basically aggregates thousands of data points around organizing meetings and events. We are aggregating travel costs, ease of travel, visa requirements, carbon footprint, travel policies, security, a lot of different things. Let me quickly show you how that actually works. So basically, you enter the number of travelers per origin. The moment you add an origin into the system starts recommending potential meeting destinations based on several data points. It's a dynamic algorithm which basically changes every time you add a different origin. After you have run the analysis, that's the way how we show you the results. So you see different data points about flight costs, carbon footprint, hotel costs, ease of travel. You see how well each of the destinations is scoring in relation to the other destinations. And then you can really go into the details of every destination. You can look at different elements around the flight details here, hotel information. There's information around meal caps, VAT claim potential, different things. So you can play around with all the data points. And you can simulate how a meeting would look like in Boston versus Chicago versus Toronto. We have seen a lot of very interesting analysis, and I actually want to come back to my initial question. 300 travelers from 35 different origins, actually a real customer case we have sold. I want to show you the results today. That's quite interesting. So the interesting thing of this case is that 60 people were based in Chicago, so in one destination, out of these 300 people. The customer asked us, OK, what is the best destination to bring these people together? What's the cheapest one? So we ran it through the platform, and we saw actually you can save more than $70,000 by moving 50 people more to Boston than to Chicago. So we thought that's very counterintuitive, and we were trying to understand what's the reason for that. When we looked at the flight cost, we saw that you can save almost $170,000 by flying 50 people more to Boston than to Chicago. Now, this didn't make sense at all. So we started to dig a bit deeper and actually found the reason, which is very straightforward. This company has a travel policy which says, if a flight is longer than 6 hours, upgrade to business class. And apparently, in this case, Boston was so well geographically located that only 29 people would be eligible to fly business class, whereas Chicago, 135 people would fly business class. So the difference here in the air ticket generated the saving. And interestingly as well, the carbon footprint of this trip was 22% lower by moving 50 people more on a plane to Boston than to Chicago. So in the 22, that's like 190 tons, and this is equal to the annual footprint of 47 people. Crazy. So we have seen a lot of this analysis, and actually what we've seen that we are continuously achieving savings of more than 40% in this analysis by moving people to different destinations. So what happens, our customers love this so much that actually they are running now every single meeting and events through our platform because they want to make people as well aware, like, hey, did you take the right decision? Even if you think you know that's the best place. We have several Fortune 500 companies as paying customers. We have a few very interesting strategic partnerships. One's One World Alliance, another one's Meetings.com, which allows us to bring actually specific price points for meetings and events travel into the platform. And we are operating as a SaaS business model, so to say, on the platform side. And then we have a marketplace where we connect the suppliers for the fulfillment side. Our target markets are including the big corporations. We are working with a number of TMCs, with airlines and hotel groups where we are using different data sets, basically, to help them out. So why will this work? Very simple. We are a team of 3 people, and we are combining massive experience in business development and building successful tech businesses and creating amazing software. And the last thing to add here, we are currently running an investment round. We have a few committed partners on board, and we are specifically interested in talking to people in the meetings and event space and people who are interested in the sustainability aspect. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Dennis. take a seat on the stool.
I think it's really cool. I mean, I love the idea of optimizing a decision that is normally opinion-based. My two concerns would be, one, oftentimes there are opinions that are pretty powerful in these decision-making processes, and how do you account for, for effectively what is, potentially an emotional or opinion-based decision on where to host an event, is one thing just to understand. And the second thing is, you're also heavily reliant on analytical data on fares and on hotel prices. But in the meetings and event space, hotels are generally negotiating room blocks for larger groups, and availability is not always available through typical sources. And the air is based on a spot check, but people don't book the minute you make your analysis. People book over a period of time. So I just, how good can you get this optimization game to be that reliable in how it's actually delivering value?
Yeah, very valid question. So what we're doing currently is more around almost like budgeting, getting an idea like which destinations would be cost effective. And through the integration with our strategic partners, with Meetings.com, for example, we are able to bring actually group rates into the system as well, historical rates. So how would this price change potentially? The same on the One World Alliance. So by being able to bring in a discount code in for this meeting and events, again, we are showing very realistic data. And what we've heard so far from our users, they're very excited about the accuracy of the data we're bringing in.
I got a question about the carbon. First of all, thank you for bringing up the whole carbon footprint thing. I think it's the first time we've really gotten into it at all today.
Thanks.
How do you guys weight that in the equation? Does the company get to decide how important the carbon footprint is? And when they do they translate that into economic terms, a price per ton of emissions saved or something like that? Or the opposite?
So what we are doing is we are aggregating the data to the end user. So it's your decision which is kind of your key driver there. And what we've seen specifically in Europe, it's really in Europe, there's a huge interest on the carbon footprint, actually. And we're working with a large energy company in Europe to bring alternative transportation methods in as well. Because like the same in the US, potentially not everyone needs to fly. You could self-drive, you can maybe take a train or a bus or whatsoever. So the carbon footprint is very, very important there. It's not related to a cost element right now, but we can bring the offset cost in. But basically, it's interesting to see how big or how much savings you can generate on the carbon footprint side by being a bit more flexible on where to meet.
And do you find the companies actually are paying attention to that? Do they tend to use it as a lever?
Specifically in Europe, I have to say. In Europe and in California.
I'm shocked. Really?
Yeah. What is the cost of the platform? I mean, the savings looks like they could be really significant. How do you price the product?
Yeah, very good question. I think we are too cheap anyway, so in comparison to the saving we're generating. So what we see that with one analysis, most of our customers actually get the whole license, the annual license fee out. I mean, if you plan a meeting for 200 people, the saving sometimes, as we saw earlier, like $600,000. It's crazy. So obviously we are not charging $600,000 as a license fee, but it's an annual license fee which is limited to a certain number of analysis you can do.
Mm-hmm. So, got it. Thank you.
And do you feel like, I assume you do feel like the technology is sort of best of breed. Is there something in there that's patent protectable? Is there IP that allows you to do this that other people can't?
Yes, we actually have a patent pending on parts of the technology, on some optimizations, on arrival windows that you want to make sure that everyone arrives, let's say, before a certain time. So, yes.
Thank you very much, Dennis.
Thanks, Dennis.
Thank you so much.